Dr. Morey, Uncivilized Vitality, and this video is going to be about the uncivilized movement number one principle. Natural movement is vital. Today we're just going to talk about shoulder range of motion. I've been asked to do some more of the movement videos. We'll start doing that pretty soon when the mat frees up. The windows are getting replaced at the clinic this week. New glass finally, and that area is just a wreck. So I'm going to do this in the little lecture area. So we'll talk about shoulder range of motion. Human beings are classified as primates, great apes particularly, and unlike monkeys, we have a shoulder structure that allows us to brachiate or kind of swing through like on monkey bars, even though monkey bars is a misnomer. They should be called ape bars because monkeys can't do that sort of swing through that humans and some of the other great apes can do. So our shoulders constructed, we've got this wide range of motion naturally, but as we get more civilized and we spend more time with our shoulders in this tiny range of motion, or we play unilateral sports where the right arm, if you're right-handed, moves through with the racket or throw the ball or something, you don't get a lot of range of motion in your shoulder joints, and then they start to you can deal with frozen shoulder, you get the sequela from limited range of motion in your shoulders. Anyway, it's good to have good range of motion in your shoulders. You can check out some of my anatomy videos explaining the particulars about that unique insertion of the pectoralis major, the teres major, and the latissimus dorsi, how they insert and allow your arm to internal and external rotation as we hang, so we get that nice swing called brachiation. So you'll need a couple things. You'll need some sort of stretchy, like this TheraBand, or some stretchy tubing. You can get that a lot of different places. You could use a yoga strap, a yoga belt. It doesn't have as much give, but it will provide you with the resistance we need to work through this range of motion. And then you just need some sort of dowel or broomstick. Just gotta, I think this is one of our handles off one of our painting extenders. So some sort of stick or dowel. So the first thing we'll talk about is the shoulder exercises. You'll start out to kind of build up some strength for this range of motion. And as a quick disclaimer, obviously if you got a shoulder injuries, before you do this, get those checked out by qualified healthcare professional to clear you to do these exercises. Otherwise, use your common sense. And if it hurts, you get any sharp pains or anything, just go slowly. And if it's uncomfortable, work into that, but not to the point of pain. Okay, so let's take this band. So the first thing we're going to want to do is hold our arms out straight and just practice stretching that rubber band. Just don't let your elbows bend. Try not to use your arms and elbow muscles. Just sit up nice and straight, pull the shoulder blades back, okay? Pull back, and then just pull that rubber band apart. Once you get good at doing that in the front, you can take that rubber band overhead and practice pulling it apart. Okay. Once you can do that, take that rubber band overhead, raise your shoulders, elevate your shoulder blades, and then pull apart while it's up there. Practice holding it apart. Develop some strength like that. Stronger joints have better range of motion, active range of motion. So that's important to do. Once you've gotten good at a few of those exercises, the stretching apart, and the shoulder retractions, the elevations, and pulling apart, you can get your stick, and we'll start working on the shoulder exercises. Sometimes this particular exercise or series of exercises are called shoulder dislocations, but don't let the name fool you. You're not dislocating your shoulder. It has to do with the angle of the joint, and the range of motion you take it through is similar to an injury called a dislocation or a subluxation. Separation depends on the joints. Dislocations happen at the glenohumeral joint, and separations happen at the AC joint. Let me talk about that later. So a couple of different exercises. We've done that with the rubber band. Now we're going to take a good width on the stick. The wider you go, at first, the easier it'll be, and then you can bring your hands in tighter and tighter. To find a good width to start with, you hold the stick with your shoulders relaxed and bring your knee up. When your hip flexes, if it pushes the stick up, man, I hope you guys can see this. then you're going to want to go out a little bit until you hold the stick, and when you're bringing your hips up and marching, you're not moving the stick up and down. So now I've got my hand width. I'm going to bring the stick overhead and I'll do the same thing. I'm going to practice elevating my shoulders, and then I'm just going to take the stick back. Okay? You can see that from the side. So I'm going to elevate my shoulder blades, and then I just practice taking the stick back. Okay? And you're going to feel the tension or the stretch. You're going to feel that where you feel it. It's going to be different for everybody, so I don't want to color your experience ahead of time and tell you where you're going to feel it. Just lean into it. Remember, you work through discomfort, but not through pain. All right, so I've got my stick. I've done the elevations and taking it back. Make sure you don't poke your head or distort your body in weird ways. Just relax, shoulders up, stick back to stretch those out. Once you get a little better at that, we're going to do the W stretch. So you're going to hold the stick above your head. This time you're going to bring your shoulder blades down, nice and relaxed, and pull the shoulder down. I think it's called the W because it looks like my arms are making the letter W, I guess. I'm not really sure. It's just how I learned it. So bring them up, bring that down so it's behind my head. I'm not forcing my head forward or anything. And then just take the stick back a little bit and work through that range of motion. Once you get good at that, you can bring the stick down into your W and extend your arms out fully behind you without pecking. So you bring down low and then just straighten your arms out behind you. Okay? That just takes us to the next exercise, which would be the full range. The stick up, I'm going to elevate my shoulders and then retract my shoulder blades, depress them as I bring it down to the W, press the stick out and lower it all the way down. Okay? Then I bring up all the way up and over my head. Keep your arms straight, bring all the way through, down to your back, and all the way up. Now as you get with the straight arms, and you're moving past that W through the full range, right? And you start out, you can go up, down, press out, and you're doing it in like little steps and come up. Then you keep your arms straight, and you're gonna pass all the way up and all the way down in that dislocation motion and bring back up. You might get stuck at the back part. If you do, let your elbows bend, bring it back to that W position, work on the press out, and then bring it down. And finish through with your shoulder dislocations. This is a great stretch to do in the morning. This will loosen your arm up. This is probably the best series of motions you can do for your shoulder health next to simply hanging. Single arm hangs, double arm hangs, dead hangs, active hangs, scapular retractions. Find something sturdy to hang from or just sag your weight. Maybe we'll do another video on a series of basic hangs. Great for shoulder health. Some people that know me know that after the second time I was hit by a car as a pedestrian in '98. I've had the fortune of being hit twice. The first one didn't hurt that bad. Broke a couple ribs. Hurt my right hip a bit because it hit me, rolled over. The second one, '98, hit me and I went up and over and seriously damaged my left shoulder. Had a 2nd degree separation, broke chip fracture on my scapula, broke my wrist, my tibia, little bone in my neck, some ribs, big concussion. Actually, it was pretty terrible. But the hardest part was my shoulder, and I had to wear, for about 6 months, I wore a brace with a Velcro strap, and it was hard to sort of hung it to myself when I went, was doing things. And then I had to wash my hair. I put the shampoo and I used my hand and I just kind of scrub when I had hair, or more hair, I guess. Anyway, I rehabbed myself with 2 main movements after I started getting that range of motion back and I scarred up. The shoulder dislocation series and hanging from bars. And it took me about a year, but now I've got what I feel like is full range of motion and strength, 90% of my strength back in the left compared to the right, just from doing these shoulder dislocations, getting that full range back, and the strengthening exercises. You can do the full range dislocation with a tube with your arms a little closer. This way when I pull the rubber band apart. Now as I do that full range of motion, I have to maintain the tension on that band, right? And as you get stronger, you can get, I don't know if this one's long enough, you can get a heavier or a thicker duty band. You can pull that out and bring that up and over. Right? Work through the range of motion with some resistance. Otherwise, just use the bar. Another exercise I used to kind of rehab my shoulder was when I would hold palm up, and I put the stick vertically behind my elbow, and then I would use the leverage to take my shoulder joint into like a figure 4 stretch, into a more slightly uncomfortable range of motion until I could get that stretched back out. Okay. So here's a good way to do this. Palm up, the webbing of my thumb and forefinger, tuck your elbow in front, and then you've got that you can use the stick as a lever to take your arm into that figure 4 range of motion. So that'd be another bit of the dislocating I did. But that exercise is great. You naturally mimic that. You get up in the morning. Do you ever do a big stretch in the morning? Your arms go back like that? It's very similar to what your body's doing to sort of activate those muscles in your nervous system waking up. You get that stretch. So grab a stick. Start off slow. You might not be able to get that stick all the way back here, or start bringing that W down. It's a little tight. If it's uncomfortable, take a wider grip, right? Wider grip. The closer in you get on that grip and pull that W down, the more uncomfortable that's going to get. And then when you've got that stick down there, pushing those arms straight out behind you, right? Push them straight out there and come back. That'll be a little uncomfortable at first. Once you get the hang of that and you've got full range of motion, this is a good exercise. Elevate and bring all the way through a few times to loosen the shoulders up before you're doing any shoulder work. Some people like to say do this before you're doing any handstands or inversions. My good friend Cameron Pratto is an expert. Great. Maybe we can have Tom put the link into Cameron's stuff. He's got some online courses. Very, very knowledgeable. Great at inversions. Handstands, standing on your hands. I think he can stand on one hand in balance. Me, not so much. But I use this for rehabbing before I do any of the grappling or combative arts. I use this to loosen up when my shoulders are tight. I am a chiropractic physician, so I am constantly, all day long, each day, using my shoulders and arms to manually move patients around. And it's tiring, so you need good, healthy shoulders. All right, that's long-winded enough. You guys try that out. If you got any benefit from that, leave some comments below. I can show you further in the series of the shoulder dislocates. We can do some hanging. I'll show you some of my other favorite conditioning or natural movement training exercises. I don't really like the word exercise, but I have a whole series of dead bugs. That's a lot of fun. It's called the dead bug. We got dead bug, dying bug, leaning bug, wall bug, ball bug, all sorts of them. So we'll maybe do a series like that. And what else? Please like the channel or like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the channel. We're using the YouTube channel, as we've said before, as a source of revenue for my charity to get people out in the outdoors, especially those communities and populations that special needs and children that wouldn't otherwise be able to enjoy the outdoors. And we need funding, so this the YouTube channel, not just to hear myself talk all the damn time. Okay, enjoy that shoulder range of motion, natural movement, and we'll see you next time.